You're getting ready for Somalia. Somalia kicks off. Can you kind of walk us through what that was like?
Yeah. It's the hardest shit I ever did. 30 years later, right?
Yeah.
Fucking hits me. Yeah, the first 5 missions were like, no shit. Let's go. We're America, man. We win everything. We're the good guys, right? And you go in there, and the first 5 missions were just making noise, shooting at, not even shooting at people. You hear bullets flying back and forth, and we win the day, right? The 4th hit, or the 5th hit, was Osman Otto, and that was one of those, the guys hit the ground. We were supposed to circle the top again. I'm like, fuck, I hate circling the helicopter. I went on the ground. And then a gunfight broke out, so we roped right into the intersection and just took off. And I remember there was a machine gun nest a block up, and me and my buddy our whole team hit the ground, but me and my buddy were like, looked at each other and like, near ambush. Fuck that up. It was a far ambush, right? Near ambush, rush it. So we start rushing down this alleyway with walls on both sides, nowhere to get out of the way. And bullets are just skipping off the ground, man, around us. And I'm running thinking, and the guy in front of me is taller than I was. And I'm already thinking, oh, as soon as he gets hit and goes down, I'm next, man. It's just waiting for that. Finally found ourselves to a spot and opened up and took out that nest and shit. And that was just one of those, okay, that amped it up a bit. And I think I took somebody's life on exfil from the 2nd floor. He was getting ready to shoot at our helicopter on the 3rd floor, and I shot. He didn't even see me. And that was like my first, like, whoa, no shit. Like, I looked at him across the street, and he didn't look at me. He had no idea I was there, and drilled him right in the head, and he just fell back. Gun falls out the window. I'm like, holy shit, like, fuck. Calling for my team leader. I'm like, Pete, you see that shit? I just shot that fucker in the face. He goes, all right, good job. Keep doing your job. I'm like, fuck, this guy doesn't get excited about shit. And then you go back and you're like, man, that was scary as shit still, but here we are. We made it. We won again. And then 3 October, that's when everything changed, when right on infill, getting shot at, RPGs through the helicopters and getting shot at, and guy falls 90 feet. You hear that on the radio. We got infilled outside of the perimeter, so we had to take a house down under fire and fight our way in. Grabbed all the detainees, moved them, getting ready to exfil them, and then the 5-ton gets hit with an RPG and blows up. And then a ranger sitting next to a gate, just taking a break, his neck explodes. I'm like, fuck, this is growing. And then I hear an RPG, and I look up and I see the helicopter spinning out of control off to the west. I'm like, fuck me, and I'm still trying to make jokes like, we're gonna make it home for dinner, right? Like, still dinner, right? I didn't bring night vision, I didn't bring water, I didn't bring shit. In and out in an hour. That's what we were always at. Ended up fighting our way down the street, to the crash site, and just spent 18 hours there. That whole night was just, that's when it was hell on earth. I don't know even how to explain it to people who won't it's wasted on people who don't have a clue, right?
I guess to not to interrupt, to compare it to the way the movie depicts it, how would you contrast it?
When you watch the movie after being there, you're like, oh, it's kind of funny. I didn't see half that shit. And they were like, was all that true? And I go, I don't know. Maybe some of that was true because I was, of course, war scenes are all similar and the same. You shot up an RPG. What country was that in? It's all the same. It caught the chaos. It caught probably some of the humor, and it caught the fear, I think. Could it ever really, show somebody what it's like? No. But I think it got close. I've been able to watch it since the first time I watched it. I've tried with Jen a couple of times, and it's one of those things I get into. Like, she's like, you sure you want to watch that? I'm like, yeah, it just popped up. Fuck it, let's watch this shit. And I know those people, so it's not a movie to me. It's a reenactment. I just kind of break down. I can't do it because it's a lot of loss in one day.
Yeah. Did the movie, from your perspective, I know it's been a while since you've watched it, did it miss anything that stands out? Like,
yeah, the movie was told from a ranger perspective. Couldn't really talk to Delta guys about it. There was a couple that were involved due to them getting out, but it was mostly ranger stories. So a lot of the people in the movie are doing scenes as a ranger that unit guys did. So one guy might do 3 things that 3 people did. Just to kind of catch it, or the ranger saw an event happen, so they're trying to depict that in the movie as what they think happened. So they missed a lot of like internal shit from our unit's perspective, what we did up on the front edge of that, because they were kind of behind.
Can you share any of that?
There was a lot of animosity about why we weren't out in the street, all of us, and I think it was a leadership breakdown that was the scuttle back in the day. I don't want to get into that because I'm not the guy. I was a young kid then. My job was to break shit and shoot people, man. I wasn't in charge of anything. Hearing the stories down the road years later and talking to people, it was like, yeah, there was a breakdown. There was some people screaming, cowardice and poor leadership on the other side. But, I wasn't down there, right? I wasn't down there. I didn't see it. And I've learned to talk about what I did and what I saw happen. But other than that, not to guess, because that's someone else's opinion possibly. But a lot of talk about the breakdown in leadership and how we could have used more people out on the streets versus just the few that we had that were going out and doing things. Like when my team leader was like, hey, we need someone to run ammo across the street. I'm like, fuck. Hey, we need someone to run water across the street. I'm like, fuck, I hate being the new guy, I was a new guy, but there was a newer guy that he got blown up. So he's laying in the living room, recovering. I'm the guy running across the street under fire, like, fuck, being the new guy sucks, and where's the younger, the lower ranking people? Where are those guys at? They were down the street. But they didn't talk about that. I don't think that was a story that was told. Yeah. I don't think this is a story people want to tell, right? It makes us look bad versus real. But I think they captured most of it, I think, Yeah. I don't think they captured the anger after. You're flying a deed around in airplanes and shit and like back to negotiations and of course you're pissed off,
Yeah.
But that's our job.
Yeah. Yeah, that 18-hour period that you guys were, I'm not going to say pinned down, but in one area.
No, we were pinned down. I'd have left if I could. That's for sure.
Yeah. Loadout-wise, you didn't have water, you didn't have night vision. Armament-wise, what were you guys carrying, and what was your loadout mag-wise? Like, were you similarly lightly loaded down?
Basic load, 210 rounds, 5.56. I probably had 5 45 magazines, one in and, 4 on my hip. And I carried a shotgun too, like a little shotgun. So I had that ammo going for me as well. That was it. That's typical what people had. Some had sniper rifles, but most of us had kind of the similar thing. Some guys would have 203s and things like that, but it's kind of it. Everybody carries their grenades and whatnot. But yeah, 210 basic loads all went in with. We were back in the day. It was one of those in and out, man.
Yeah,
we're the unit, bro. In and out, man. And then boom, you're like, fuck, we weren't ready for that. It was one of those. It's a big learning moment, a real big learning moment. I think for a lot of the Army and definitely for us. For me, maybe the unit was repeating things. I don't know, but for me, it was one of those. Whoa. Don't have helicopters hover overhead. It's kind of like telling everybody where you're at, and plus there's somebody to shoot down there. Bring your nods, bring water. Don't ever think you're going to go in and out. There's always prepare for the worst. It's one of those, we're hostage rescue people, man, We don't stick around. No, but when you don't think about the option that might be taken from you, the enemy has a vote.
Yeah.
We were just kind of stuck and we unprepared, At my age then, I would say we were unprepared. I don't think anybody would argue that.
Yeah. When during that period, were there waves of gunfights? Was it like can you kind of go through that period? I know we don't have time to spend 18 hours talking about it, but
there were waves. It was you could hear the commander in the air flying around telling us. Our ISR telling us, hey, there's a huge group of people forming on the outskirts of town. They're loading in vehicles. Oh, they're heading your way. And you're like, fuck. And you'd hear that all night long. And then there'd be a wave of people going through and shooting at you and launching RPGs and trying to sneak up on you. And then that would kind of go away a little bit. You'd notice the volume was trickling down. At one point, 2 dudes walking down the street right into the middle of our intersection. Me and my buddy were laying at the gate. And Jake's like, hey. Look at those fuckers. You could barely see them. One had an AK over his shoulder. They're just chatting like they forgot where we were. He's like, what the fuck do we do? He's like, I'm going to light them up, with his flashlight. And he lit them up just to make them do something because we won't shoot anybody unless it's a threat. And he just had his gun over his shoulder, right? Yeah, right? So he lights him up with the flashlight so that dude pulls his weapon off his shoulder because that's what I would do. And then we lit him up. And then one guy took off running. I ran to the next window to try to shoot him. And he's dropping the guy in the street. And it was one of those, they just keep coming, man. They're on cot, they're drugged out, and they're just rounding them up out of town. They're bringing them in. And whether they know what they're doing or not, I don't know. But giving them weapons and coming at us, it just kept coming in waves after wave of the volume would pick up. The house was getting broken down by RPGs as they would get close enough to hit the house and tear down that wall. And I'm thinking, fuck, the next one's coming into the living room, man, So, yeah, those waves kept coming to the point of, I asked my team leader one time, you could hear the convoy trying to make it to you as well with the 50 cows roaring, and you could hear the gunfire coming at them. And I said, hey, are they going to make it? And he just looked at me. He's like, no, I don't know. And he turned and walked out. And there goes my fucking team leader again. No motivational speech at all. Yeah. Just, I don't know. Just the truth. Always just the truth. I don't know. And that's the moment I was like, well, all right. Okay. And I got happier. Like, fuck it. I'm dead, right? I'm dead. So let's just go, right? It was kind of like that fear was gone. Like, yeah, you're going to die, so let's just do as much as you can while you're alive.
Wow. That had to be a sobering moment life-wise, and one that changes your perspective forever, I imagine.
Yeah, to this day.
Yeah.
To this very moment. It's it ruined me.
Yeah. The waves, I mean, it sounds reminiscent of like the fucking Walking Dead.
Yeah.
I mean, especially like they're doped up on cot and they're almost fucking zombie-like mental state-wise. Is that kind of what it was like? It's just like these waves of fucking erratic people that are walking into being mowed down?
Yeah, and I kept wondering, like, why do they continue to come? Did they not see the first group of people? You'd shoot people and you'd see your tracers going through them, and they just kept coming. And I'm like, it's like, are we not hitting the right spots? I mean, are they so skinny? Are they drugged up? I mean, it was one of those things where you'd shoot. I mean, you double tap and you move on to the next target in training. I learned, no, I'm going to empty 10 or 15 into you because 5.56 doesn't kill you right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to hit something important, and I'm going to keep looking for it till I find it.
Yeah. I mean, were there just piles of bodies piling up?
They would drag them back. I mean, there was the close-in ones, sure, they would stay there, and on the mile run out, I would see people dead laying around and shit. But the numbers that they're taking out with the little birds and the rockets and shit, I mean, they were hauling them away. I didn't get out to see if they were still there on the streets, where they were trying to come in. But I didn't see, it wasn't stacks of bodies. It was just, I know that they were dragging people back. Yeah. And I know the hospitals, you could hear the radios, the hospitals were filling up.
Yeah. Did any of you guys run out of ammo?
Yeah, we all did. I know I did. Yeah. I had my knife on the bed at one point, like, fuck,
Wow.
and then got an ammo resupply, which exploded in the street. We're out there trying to scrap up, ammo out of the dirt, and then pass it around, and then ran out again. And so when I ran out the next morning, I probably had one mag left, and I emptied that, and I was picking up magazines on the road. There'd be 3 in there. I'd knock dirt out of it, stick it in my weapon, and, and shoot at whatever I saw, and then find another mag down the street, and there'd be 1 or 2 or 3 in it, and I'd knock the dirt out and use it, until I got back to the Humvee finally, and we loaded up. I'm like, all right, you're going to go in this Humvee, you're going to head this way, there's tanks and Pakistani BMPs and shit everywhere. And I was like, all right, I feel good now. There were tanks launching into the streets, and I was like, whoa, I've never seen tanks shoot before, man. They were just shooting at everything. And grabbed more ammo on the vehicle, and that was the first time we actually had back up to basic load, and that was on our way out.
Wow. What was the period for you guys from your situation of when you finally were able to leave that intersection? Like
the period of time?
No, I mean, what happened? Like, what was the box that needed to be checked for you guys to be able to bail out of it?
We had to get the pilots. The pilot bodies were pinned underneath the aircraft. They'd blown through the windshield, and they landed on top of them. And so we couldn't get the bodies out. So once the Pakistani 2 vehicles made it to our position, the rest stayed about a mile away. They couldn't get into the city. They didn't want to, you don't want to take armor into the city. And they made it to us, so we used those vehicles to pull the vehicle up while we pulled out the body parts that we could get and load them on top. So that's why we wouldn't leave. We wouldn't leave the bodies behind.
Yeah. So once you recover them, you make the mile. Was the mile out treacherous? I mean, were you getting shot at?
Yeah, all along the way. I mean, I almost got hit by an RPG. A guy in front of me got hit. I mean, I literally, from the target house, we went back south and was going to make a right back east the way we came. And I knew the helicopter was laying there, and I knew they were going to rocket it with an Apache. So as soon as we hit that intersection and turned, I turned because I saw the Apache floating, and I was like, I'm going to watch this. Like, I want to see what it looks like. And they didn't launch them, and all of a sudden I waited enough, and I was like, all right, it's not going to happen. Not while I'm here. And I turned and looked, and nobody was on the street. And I'm like, I fucked around. I just took off running. And then a guy jumps out of a little inlet along the walls, jumps out and goes in here, and he pushes me in there, and right then an RPG hits the wall as he's coming in, and it kind of fucked his ear up, but he hooked me up and saved me from that. But all the way out, there were people firing everywhere. One of the city incidents where you don't know where it's coming from.
Yeah.
But you get shit will skip off the walls, off the ground. You're like I'd love to shoot somebody, but I don't know where it's coming from.
Yeah. And you're down to a mag at that point.
Yeah, and I don't want to waste them.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
I can't shoot anybody when I can't see them, even if you're getting shot at. So.
Yeah. So once you finally made it out through that mile, what happened after that? Did you guys end up going back?
Yeah, the plan was to go back to the Pakistani stadium, which was close in town and secure. All the tanks, all the Bradleys, and the Humvees would go there. At 10th Mountain, had Pakistanis, Malaysians there. And it was one of those, you guys load up and then Humvee. Okay. And so 2 Humvees just took off. I don't know where I'm going, man. I'm in the back. I'm happy, and we just go and we're just shooting all along the way. And then finally we cross that line where the good clan and the bad clan, and oh, by the way, don't kill anybody anymore. They like us. And it's like, okay, so nobody's taking fire. And it's just us 2. And every intersection we came up on with the burning tires and shit, and people shooting at us, we just kept shooting back. And they were like, what do we do? I got to just blow through it. Don't stop, man. Don't ever stop. Made it back through the port to the back gate of the airport, and nobody was there but 2 Humvees. And I sat there for like 30 minutes, and they had no radios. The radios were dead. I'm like, nobody's coming. I don't know. They're all dead? It can't be. I didn't know that they all had gone to the Packy Stadium, and we got lost. I found out last year when I did a post or something of a picture of this Humvee that I sat on. Some 10th Mountain guy wrote me, that was my Humvee. And we went there because I did a post about, I have no why I ended up here, blah, blah, blah. He said, we got lost. I'm like, oh, good to know. All these years later, we got lost. And he goes, that's why we went. We went what we knew. We went back to the gate we knew, but we didn't know where we were going. So we just did that.
Wow.
So everybody else went to the Packy Stadium and were flown back. And so I was sitting in the hangar waiting. I didn't know what had happened yet. I knew when we pulled in, I saw on the road, right before I entered our compound, there's like 12 bodies laid out on the streets covered with ponchos and shit. And I saw the boots, and brown, black Adidas assault boots. Brown, black Adidas assault boots. I'm like, what the fuck? Those are all bodies, and they're ours. And then we pulled into our compound, and there were Humvees just parked in different angles, full of blood, with sand all over the ground, where they'd pulled people in all night from trying to reach us. And then I realized, how bad the night was, not just for us, but for everybody. And then they all started flying back in. All I was doing was reloading my weapon, cleaning it, and then I started hearing about so-and-so's missing, so-and-so's missing. I'm like, fuck, we have people missing? This is like real movie army shit. I used to say, how do people go missing? How do you have a missing in action guy? How do you do that? You always account for somebody, right? Left and right. And I realized how easy it is to go missing, and not know where anybody is.
So did you guys keep going back in and continue to fight after that?
They wouldn't let us. That's probably a good idea.
Yeah.
We were. They brought another squadron over.
Yeah.
We were decimated, but we were ready to go back. We wanted to. And the command's like, no, you can't. This vengeance is not going to happen for you.
Yeah. The black Adidas assault boots were unit guys?
Yeah.
Yeah. You lost 2?
More, but that's what I saw laying there.
Yeah. How many Delta guys total were there?
Were there?
And in on it, I guess.
Maybe 40.
Oh, wow.
Maybe.
So, that's like an entire squadron was there?
Yeah. The whole squadron was there.
Yeah.
And then the Ranger, but maybe 40.
Yeah. And how many total were lost?
18.
Delta guys?
No. 6.
6.
I think it was 18 total.
Yeah. This may seem like a silly question. Not bringing any water in, did you not have a drop of water that entire time?
out of the pipe that came out of the wall, man. Flower pots and shit. I was dumping those on iodine tablets everywhere. You know, just here's a couple iodine tablets. Shake it and drink that shit, man. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
But you know, if you got a night and you think, you know, what if I shit my pants? Who cares? You know, I'm thirsty.
Yeah.
It was just that, but it was just dripping, and then I was taking the flower pots and shit. What it was left after pouring them on the couch, they caught fire from the RPG. You know, trying to put that fire out. But yeah, it was. Yeah, it was all out of the pipe in the wall, man. I don't know that anybody had water.
Yeah.